Running a business in Kenya can be exciting, but it can also be very challenging, especially when it comes to pricing your products. Many small business owners struggle with setting the right price. Some price too low and end up making losses, while others price too high and fail to attract customers. The truth is, pricing is not just about putting a number on your product. It is about understanding your costs, your customers, and your market. When you get pricing right, your business becomes sustainable, profitable, and able to grow over time. Let us start with a simple idea. Every product you sell must cover your costs and still leave you with a profit. If you are selling a product for less than it costs you to produce or acquire it, you are slowly killing your business. Even if you are making sales every day, you may still be losing money without realizing it. That is why the first step in pricing is always to understand your costs clearly and honestly. Costs come in different forms. There are direct costs which are easy to see. These include the money you spend on raw materials, buying stock, packaging, and labor. For example, if you are making liquid soap, your direct costs will include chemicals, bottles, labels, and the time spent producing the soap. If all these add up to 500 Kenyan shillings per unit, then that is your base cost. But many business owners forget indirect costs. These are costs that are not tied to one product, but are necessary to run the business. These include rent, electricity, internet, transport, marketing, and even your own salary. If you ignore these, you will think your product is cheaper than it really is. For example, if you pay 10,000 Kenyan shillings monthly for rent and produce 100 units in that month, then each unit should carry at least 100 Kenyan shillings of rent cost. There are also hidden costs. These are small expenses that seem unimportant but add up over time. These include mobile money transaction fees, fuel price changes, repairs, and losses due to damage or theft. Many businesses in Kenya rely heavily on mobile money, and transaction fees can take a significant portion of your revenue if not considered in your pricing. Once you understand your total cost per product, the next step is to add profit. Profit is not greed. Profit is what keeps your business alive. It allows you to grow, reinvest, and survive tough times. Without profit, your business cannot last. Profit margins vary depending on the type of business. In Kenya, many small retail businesses use a margin of between 20% and 50%. For example, if your total cost per product is 500 Kenyan shillings and you add a profit margin of 50%, your selling price becomes 750 Kenyan shillings. This means you earn 250 Kenyan shillings per unit sold. However, pricing is not only about cost and profit. You must also think about your customers. What are they willing to pay? This is where market research becomes important. If you price your product at 1,000 Kenyan shillings, but similar products in the market are selling for 600 Kenyan shillings, customers may not buy from you unless you offer something extra. Understanding your market means observing what your competitors are doing. Visit shops, check online marketplaces, and talk to customers. Ask questions. Why do they buy from a certain seller? What do they like? What do they complain about? This information helps you position your product correctly. If your product is similar to others, you may need to use competitive pricing. This means setting your price close to what others are charging. But if your product has better quality, better packaging, or better service, you can charge a higher price. This is called value-based pricing. It focuses on what the customer believes the product is worth, not just what it costs you. Another strategy is penetration pricing. This is common for new businesses. You start with a lower price to attract customers and gain trust. Once people know your product and like it, you can gradually increase the price. However, you must be careful not to go too low, because it may be difficult to increase prices later without losing customers. Distribution costs are also very important in Kenya. Transport can be expensive, especially with rising fuel prices. If you are delivering within Nairobi, you may spend between 100 and 300 Kenyan shillings per delivery. If you are shipping to other towns, costs can go up to 800 Kenyan shillings or more. You must decide whether to include this cost in your product price or charge it separately. Psychological pricing is another powerful tool. People do not always think logically when buying. For example, a price of 999 Kenyan shillings feels cheaper than 1,000 Kenyan shillings, even though the difference is very small. Bundling is also effective. Instead of selling one item for 500 Kenyan shillings, you can sell 3 for 1,300 Kenyan shillings. This makes the customer feel they are getting a better deal. Discounts can also increase sales, but they must be used carefully. If you offer discounts too often, customers may start waiting for discounts instead of buying at full price. It is better to use limited time offers to create urgency. Many business owners make the mistake of underpricing their products. They think lower prices will attract more customers. While this may be true in the short term, it can harm your business in the long run. Low prices can make customers think your product is of low quality. They also reduce your profit, making it harder to grow. Another common mistake is copying competitors without understanding your own costs. Your competitor may have lower costs due to bulk buying or better suppliers. If you copy their price without knowing this, you may end up making losses. It is also important to review your prices regularly. The economy changes and costs go up. Inflation affects everything from raw materials to transport. If you do not adjust your prices, your profit will shrink over time. Many businesses in Kenya struggle because they keep the same prices for years while their costs continue to rise. Customer feedback is also important. If customers complain that your product is too expensive, try to understand why. Is it because of the price itself, or because they do not see enough value? Sometimes improving packaging, branding, or customer service can justify a higher price. Technology can help you manage pricing better. Simple tools like spreadsheets can help you track costs and profits. You do not need expensive software to start. Even a basic record of your expenses and sales can give you valuable insights. Building a strong brand can also support higher pricing. When customers trust your brand, they are willing to pay more. This is why consistency is important. Deliver the same quality every time. Keep your promises. Treat your customers well. Over time, your brand becomes valuable. It is also wise to have different pricing levels. For example, you can offer a basic version of your product at a lower price and a premium version at a higher price. This allows you to serve different types of customers without losing sales. Negotiation is common in many Kenyan markets. Be prepared for customers who want to bargain. You can set your price slightly higher to allow room for negotiation, but make sure your final price still covers your costs and profit. Another factor to consider is seasonality. Some products sell better during certain times of the year. For example, school items sell more at the beginning of the school term, while festive products sell more during holidays. During high demand, you may increase your prices slightly. During low demand, you may offer promotions to attract customers. Cash flow is also affected by pricing. If your prices are too low, you may not have enough money to restock or cover expenses. If your prices are too high, sales may be slow, and cash may be tied up in unsold stock. Finding the right balance is key. As your business grows, your pricing strategy may change. You may find better suppliers, reduce costs, and increase efficiency. This allows you to improve your profit margins without raising prices too much. Growth also brings new challenges, such as increased competition and higher expectations from customers. Learning from successful businesses can also help. Observe how they price their products, how they present them, and how they communicate value. You do not need to copy them, but you can learn valuable lessons. At the end of the day, pricing is both an art and a science. It requires calculation, observation, and experience. There is no perfect price that works forever. You must be willing to test, learn, and adjust. Start simple. Calculate your costs. Add a reasonable profit margin. Study your market. Then launch your product and observe the results. If sales are slow, review your price and your value. If sales are strong, make sure your profit is enough to sustain and grow your business. Remember, your goal is not just to sell, but to build a profitable and sustainable business. With the right pricing strategy, you can achieve that and create long-term success in Kenya's dynamic market.